came as a magician with a cone-shaped hat doing magic tricks. And the kids have worshipped him all these years. He's got a magic kingdom. He's got a multi-billion-dollar empire set up and built around Mickey Mouse. The same is true of the Pope. $2.6 billion paid out in reparations to people who have been sodomized and have been victims of performed by renegade, wild, sexual priests. With a whole lineage of people around the world who defend these sodomites because they've been taken over by the mind of these sodomites. Parallels. All right, here's the greatest parallel. Let's say you got a guy standing down in a Disney World as Mickey Mouse, in the clown suit, in the little old suit that they made for Mickey Mouse. The guy gets old, he dies. So Mickey, what would you say, Mickey Mouse is dead? No. You get a younger guy, put him in the suit, and Mickey Mouse is still alive. All right, Pope dies. You got the Pope suit standing there. You just let the old man die, get rid of him, put another young dude in the Pope suit, and the Pope still lives. It's all imaginary. You got a Pope suit back in the corner, just like you got a Mickey Mouse costume back in the corner. You just put a body in it and put him forth as the Pope, and the people start bowing down to this nude. This is an old man in a Pope suit. This is an old man in a Mickey Mouse suit. It's the same thing. Billions of dollars made out of both kingdoms, both magic kingdoms made billions of dollars, and it tells you how stupid mankind is. Mankind is crazy. And you got to get your mind real back into normalcy to think normally and logically again. Folks who don't even know the Pope, folks who don't even know this man, are dying and going to hell, appended to the Roman Catholic Church faithfully, never knowing him, never having a basis from this thing from the Bible. Find the Pope in the Bible. Find the virgin birth. You can find the virgin birth, but find an immaculate conception for Mary in the Bible saying she's born sinless. If Mary is born sinless, Mary could be the Savior. You don't need Jesus. Just kill Mary.
Did you know that every Disney princess is supposed to represent a dark disorder? This is the Disney princess theory. Now, what's interesting about this theory is, yes, it is a conspiracy. However, a number of psychologists actually done a study and proved that it's quite correct. Let's start with Frozen. We have Elsa and we have Anna. One is warm, happy and very impulsive, where one is cold and impulsive, which is a massive sign of bipolar disorder. Stick with me here. What about the Little Mermaid? Ariel is absolutely obsessed with collecting things. She collects things from the sea and struggles to part with them. She's hoarding, which is a massive form of OCD. Beauty and the Beast. Belle, essentially, has been locked captive by the Beast, but eventually falls in love with him, which is Stockholm Syndrome, where you fall in love with your captor. And what about Alice in Wonderland? She sees talking cats, has tea parties with rabbits, and seems to be on a constant psychedelic trip, which is a massive sign of schizophrenia.
Where's the line here? If you're for something that's satanic, witchcraft, and they're eating children. But no, it's okay, we got freedom. The God of the Bible judges wickedness and evilness and calls everyone to be holy, otherwise you're not going to go to heaven. If you're not holy, you can't just be like, well, I'm going to be a little bit holy, a little bit wicked. I'm going to be a little bit of Christian. I'm going to be a little bit for magic and witchcraft. I'm going to be a little bit for, horror, I'm going to be this and keep going. And again, God's the judge and he knows what a person knows. And are they willfully doing this? Are they ignorant? But even if they're ignorant, it's something you shouldn't be doing. And if you can't see it, then it's why is that,
A Disney employee is among more than 150 suspects arrested in a human trafficking bust in Polk County. Fox 13's Carla Byron tells us more about what the sheriff's office calls Operation Autumn Sweep.
Autumn Sweep was a 5-day undercover operation that began on October 2nd. 157 people were arrested for soliciting prostitutes, committing prostitution, or aiding and abetting prostitutes.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how many people don't understand. I have been interrogated, re-traumatized, my PTSD, my mother's PTSD. We have went through so much, brought up and dug up memories that we lost, we forgot, we buried. We're over it. For somebody new, what happened was the case got transferred to somebody in Boca Raton, Florida. That's what happened. This person that the case just got transferred to never even spoke to us, never called me. I've spoken to, I don't even know how many legal teams in this mix of this time that we've been on this case. I lost count. We spoke to so many people, but you know I got the receipts. Every single time. Every single time. There's angels that sat with us while we cried. There's angels that sat with us while we had flashbacks. There's angels that sat with my mother and was her biggest support team that we've ever freaking had when memories got too bad and flashbacks were too bad because we had to be interrogated, which is what I hate.
The Disney Bloodline, Part 2. Disney makes male phalluses into castles. Roth oversaw Disney subsidiary Hollywood Pictures' production of the film Evita, starring Madonna, famously known as the Material Girl. In reality, Madonna is alleged to be a mind-controlled slave who has appeared in numerous underground and ritual pornographic films. Some reports even claim that she participated in an actual blood sacrifice captured on film. Madonna also played the lead role in Disney's Dick Tracy, a film reportedly utilized for mind control. During an appearance on the Arsenio Hall show, Madonna displayed dissociative behavior and was captured on camera kissing her Baphomet ring. Disney's influence extends to merchandise associated with its films, as seen with Evita. The company launched a consumerism campaign featuring hats and other items inspired by the movie. In an interview with Ruth Stein, Madonna appeared disinterested in promoting Disney's products. When asked about the tango-inspired dresses and hats that surfaced in stores following Evita, she remarked, "Believe me, I have nothing to do with it. Disney is pushing the whole thing." In another interview, she expressed a desire for her daughter Lourdes to be raised with Catholic values, but she refused to name Lourdes' father, Carlos Leon, as part of that upbringing. Madonna further asserted that she is a good role model, stating, "Look, these are my standards," while simultaneously endorsing homosexuality, same-sex marriage, and single-parent families. Disney's ventures into darker themes extended to music. The company announced plans to release an album by heavy metal band Danzig, known for their dark themes. The album Black Acid Devil was released on October 30th, 1996, just in time for Halloween. Disney denied any satanic references in the music, describing it as containing dark, gothic, and sexual overtones. Glenn Danzig, the band's frontman, denied being a Satanist. An overview. Disney as a front for programming and criminal activity. Disneyland and Disney World are renowned globally and considered symbols of American culture. However, they are also alleged to serve as key programming centers for the Illuminati, aimed at creating total mind-controlled slaves. Disneyland has reportedly provided a venue for rituals, pornography, and other satanic activities. In the 1960s, the Illuminati faced scrutiny over their use of military bases for programming activities. To divert attention, they sought a location where people could gather without raising suspicion. Disneyland provided the perfect cover for these activities. Under the guise of entertainment, the Illuminati allegedly engaged in money laundering, child slavery operations, and mind control programs. They reportedly referred to Disneyland as the Little Syndicate of Mind Control. One account describes how abducted children, aged 3 or 4, were and then placed on rides like Ferris wheels or carousels. These rides served to dissociate the child from the pain and align with fairy tale programming scripts. Disneyland also provided a distraction for abducted children awaiting transfer between Illuminati caretakers. For years, Disneyland served as a hub for these nefarious activities. Today, Disney's influence has expanded globally with locations such as Euro Disneyland, located 20 miles east of Paris, and Tokyo Disneyland. In 1991, Tokyo Disneyland attracted 16 million visitors. Amidst the hustle and bustle of these enormous crowds, the Illuminati purportedly carried out criminal activities unnoticed by the public. Disney's theme parks, marketed as places of wonder and joy, conceal a sinister undercurrent that remains hidden from the millions of visitors who flock to these attractions each year. Euro Disney has consistently been a financial failure, but funding from Saudi benefactors, who purportedly benefit from its mind control operations, has kept it afloat. Walt Disney Records, the largest children's record label globally, has achieved tremendous influence over children through its movies, books, toys, and records. One example is the film Return from Witch Mountain, regarded as one of the most powerful promotions of witchcraft ever made. Additionally, the animated series DuckTales, containing deliberate monarch mind control triggers within its scripts, has been broadcast internationally, including in Poland and the former USSR. From the era of the Roman Empire, or perhaps even earlier, the ruling elite has understood the concept of bread and circus. This idea suggests that if the masses are provided with entertainment and basic sustenance, they become easier to control. Walt Disney films have played a central role in offering such entertainment, reinforcing Illuminati control over the population. Walt Disney's acquaintance, the Masonic prophet H.G. Wells, predicted in his book A Modern Utopia that the New World Order would rely heavily on spectacles and entertainment. The World Future Society described Disney's influence aptly in a publication. Control of commodities, such as entertainment, and access to those commodities translates into control over people. The postmodern U.S. is a massive rush of disconnected commodities, each vying for our attention. Entertainment has become the current form of public discourse, and Walt Disney World, spread over 27,400 acres of Florida land, is the most ideologically important piece of land in the United States. It is visited by over 30 million people annually, serving as both the middle-class pilgrimage center of the U.S. and the most significant entertainment hub globally. It is, without question, Oz, utopia as a marketing device. The Disney legacy, from Walt and Roy to contemporary figures. The Disney empire was built primarily by two brothers, Walter Elias Disney, commonly known as Walt, and Roy O. Disney. Their creation of amusement parks and films has left an indelible mark on popular culture. In more recent years, figures such as Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg have risen to prominence within the Disney Corporation. Among Disney's more controversial figures was Victor Salva, a director who was convicted of and filming the act. Despite this, Salva continued to work with Disney and later directed the film Powder. The impact of the Disney brothers is monumental. Mickey Mouse-themed apparel can be found on people worldwide, and Disney amusement parks are considered dream destinations for many. For a significant portion of humanity, visiting Disneyland or Disney World is seen as the pinnacle of life experiences. However, the Bible cautions that what is highly esteemed among men is an abomination to God. A closer examination of Disney's legacy reveals unsettling truths. Beneath the wholesome image of the Disney brand lies a deeply disturbing connection to generational occultism and hidden agendas. Who was Walt Disney? In the book, The Art of Walt Disney, From Mickey Mouse to the Magic Kingdom by Christopher Finch, an intriguing observation is made. By definition, public figures are known to everyone. Yet, even after talking with some of Disney's closest associates, it is impossible to escape the conclusion that nobody really knew him. Always there was some aspect of his personality that was just out of reach. Those who interacted with Walt Disney more intimately often described him as self-satisfied, intractable, and arrogant. He was known to bring his artists to tears or anger within moments. Finch is not alone in portraying Disney's public persona as a facade. Biographer Leonard Mosley wrote, "Since Disney is regarded by millions, particularly in the United States, as perhaps this century's most brilliantly successful creator of screen animation, I think I should make one thing clear right away. I share the general admiration for a man whose cinematic achievements were so happily inspired and inspiring, but, and this is where I differ from uncritical idolaters, I must know all the facts, no matter how unpalatable, as well as the romantic myths about any great man or woman I admire. Walt Disney, behind the myth and persona. Many of the myths propagated by Walt Disney's publicists are unpalatable, unbelievable, and unsatisfactory. Much of the true nature of Walt Disney has been deliberately concealed. As one Illuminati Grand Master and programmer once stated, "If the world only had the eyes to see the fibers which lay under the surface of Walt Disney's image, they'd tar and feather him and drag him through the streets. If only they knew what Disney's primary goal was." Personal details of Walt Disney. Walt Disney had black hair, a black mustache, and bright, quick eyes. Standing about 6 feet tall, he used his facial features as inspiration to guide artists in drawing Mickey Mouse. He was a heavy smoker, consuming as many as 70 specially rolled brown cigarettes a day, a habit he picked up during his time in the Army. He also had a fondness for expensive Scotch whiskey, red sunsets, and horses. His vacation home, Smoke Tree Ranch, was located in Palm Springs, California. He frequently sported the ranch's initials, STR, on his necktie. Walt played golf regularly at the ranch with celebrities like Bob Hope and Ed Sullivan. His primary residence was an estate in Holmby Hills, situated in a wealthy area of Los Angeles between Bel Air and Beverly Hills. Walt often spent nights at the Disney Studios and later in private quarters at the center of Disneyland. He suffered from recurring insomnia, which he attempted to manage with alcohol and tranquilizers. During some periods, weeks would pass without him setting foot in his Holmby Hills estate or seeing his family. Studio staff often discussed Walt's strange behavior. He was known to emerge only in the late afternoons after spending hours in the studio's subterranean tunnels, claiming he was chatting with the maintenance engineers. At the time of his death, Walt's estate was valued at $35 million, half of which was inherited by his wife, Lillian. In his later years, Walt vacationed extensively. He spent 3 weeks in Paris, 3 weeks at the Hotel du Cap in Antibes, and time cruising on Fritz Lowe's yacht with Ron and Diane Disney. He also visited England, where he met the British royal family and the Masonic prophet H.G. Wells. In Rome, he met privately with the Pope and the dictator Mussolini. Walt passed away in 1966. Before his death, he explored cryogenic preservation, leading to speculation that his body was frozen. Others claim he was cremated. Mickey Mouse, the icon and its origins. One story about Mickey Mouse's creation suggests Walt was inspired by a mouse he saw in the gutter during a period of unemployment. Ub Iwerks, a key Disney animator, claimed to have conceived the character during an animators meeting in Hollywood. Walt once remarked, "There is a lot of the mouse in me." Ub Iwerks even told Walt that Mickey Mouse resembled him, saying, "He looks exactly like you. Same nose, same face, same whiskers, same gestures and expressions. All he needs now is your voice." Indeed, Walt often provided Mickey's voice. A Disney book published in 1988 revealed that Walt told Ward Kimball, "Quite frankly, I prefer animals to people." Despite his connection to the character, Walt's mother was unsupportive of his work. Around 1940, after much urging, she finally watched a Mickey Mouse cartoon. She criticized Mickey's voice, unaware that it was Walt's. When he revealed this to her, she responded that he had a horrible voice. This rejection contributed to Walt's decision to scale back the production of Mickey Mouse cartoons. The next major Mickey Mouse feature, Fantasia, rendered Mickey largely silent. Walt's concept for The Sorcerer's Apprentice reflected his dream of having complete control of the earth and the elements. Disneyland and Disney World became partial realizations of that vision. His final project before his death was a restored version of the witchcraft-themed film Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Mickey Mouse has also been described as a tool for programming, leveraging the subconscious fear of mice that many women harbor. This fear-love relationship, created through Mickey's image, was reportedly valuable in the trauma-based mind control programming of certain individuals. Walt Disney's early life and personality. Some accounts attribute Walt's love for animals to his childhood on a farm near Marceline, Missouri. He began his schooling there before continuing at Benton School in Kansas City, Missouri, after the age of 8. Walt's father struggled with gambling, a trait that seemingly passed down to his son. Walt never graduated from high school, but displayed a natural talent and passion for art. Contrary to his public image, he never achieved significant proficiency in drawing. Walt joined the Army during World War I as an ambulance driver by lying about his age. During the war, he chauffeured dignitaries and engaged in questionable activities. For instance, he ran a scam selling altered German artifacts. He tampered with battlefield relics, such as smearing grease, hair, and blood inside helmets or creating bullet holes to make them appear more valuable as souvenirs. Walt's actions reflected a willingness to construct illusions for personal gain. His darker experiences as a child, including being beaten by his father in the basement, may have influenced his worldview. Biographer Bob Thomas noted that Walt took a boyish delight in playing tricks on his parents. He was fascinated with magic tricks. After his military service, Walt Disney aspired to become an artist. He applied for a position at the Pesman-Rubin Advertising Agency. According to his brother Roy, Walt was hired as a personal favor because Roy managed the agency's account at the bank where he worked. However, Walt's tenure lasted only 1 month before the agency dismissed him, citing a singular lack of drawing ability. In 1923, Walt and Roy pooled their limited resources, amounting to $290, and borrowed $500 from their uncle, Robert Disney. Robert, who had retired in Edendale, California, after a successful mining career, had always been close to their father, Elias. He provided support to Walt and Roy as they embarked on their dream of creating cartoons. Walt immersed himself in studying Charlie Chaplin, meticulously observing his body language, facial expressions, and comedic timing. He also consumed every piece of literature he could find on animation and cartooning. Working out of their uncle's garage in Hollywood, Walt and Roy eventually created Steamboat Willie in 1928, a cartoon that became an instant sensation. Interestingly, Steamboat Willie premiered on November 18, 1928, in a small independent theater with no prior advertising. Remarkably, major publications like the New York Times, Variety, and Exhibitor's Herald published rave reviews the following day. This sudden acclaim was not coincidental. It was the result of Walt's strategic connections. The rise of Walt Disney in Hollywood. Following the stock market crash of 1929, immense public resentment was directed at Jewish financiers, and Hollywood, often referred to as Babylon or Sin City, became a target of criticism. Many blamed the perceived moral degradation in Hollywood films for contributing to societal decline. In response, Edgar Magnin, the spiritual leader of the Los Angeles B'nai B'rith, encouraged Hollywood elites to elevate Walt Disney as a symbol of family values and a Christian white knight. Magnin, nicknamed Rabbi to the Stars, had long-standing connections to the Bank of Italy, later Bank of America, which maintained close ties with B'nai B'rith and the Anti-Defamation League, ADL. By 1930, Hollywood had adopted a production code emphasizing the creation of family-friendly films, with Walt Disney highlighted as an exemplary figure. Backed by the influence of the B'nai B'rith and ADL, Walt Disney's wholesome cartoons gained widespread acclaim, offering a much-needed moral facelift for Hollywood during the Depression. While many movie producers remained disconnected from public sentiment, Walt's work resonated as a beacon of traditional values. Jewish filmmakers considered Walt their best hope and positioned him as the face of Hollywood's reform. Ironically, despite being promoted as a devout Christian, Walt rarely attended church and was known to align with Masonic ideologies. The truth behind Disney's cartoons. Biographical records suggest that Walt stopped actively drawing in 1927, dedicating himself instead to managing and expanding the cartoon business. This shift challenges the widely held belief that Walt personally created Disney's iconic animations. The Disney brothers employed talented artists to bring their visions to life. The real genius behind Walt's early success was Ub Iwerks, whom Walt often referred to as the best animator in the world. Iwerks possessed an unparalleled ability to translate Walt's ideas into reality, combining a sharp sense of humor, exceptional artistry, and a deep understanding of Walt's expectations. Despite Walt's occasional cruelty, interrupting Iwerks, playing pranks on him, and being less than transparent about payments, Iwerks remained loyal, contributing significantly to Disney's achievements. Another unsung hero was Floyd Gottfredson, who drew all Mickey Mouse cartoons from 1932 to October 1975, an incredible 45-and-a-half-year tenure. A devout Mormon born in 1905 in a railway station in Sigurd, Utah, Floyd occasionally took creative direction from Walt in the early years. In one instance, Walt bizarrely suggested a series of Mickey Mouse cartoons focused on the character attempting suicide. Floyd expressed disbelief, exclaiming, "Walt, you're kidding!" But Walt insisted he found the concept amusing. Over time, however, Walt's contributions became less hands-on, and his involvement was more about guiding the overall vision. Despite the pivotal roles of artists like Iwerks and Gottfredson, Disney's marketing perpetuated the narrative that Walt single-handedly created the magic of Mickey Mouse. The majority of fans believed this myth, as the company rarely credited its behind-the-scenes talent. Fred Moore was involved in the creation of Pluto and several other cartoon characters. The idea for Pluto originated with Walt Disney, but it was Norm Ferguson's exceptional skill in drawing that transformed the concept into the actual character. Walt Disney was personally awarded 32 Academy Awards for the work produced by his studios. Interestingly, Walt Disney's famous signature was actually designed by someone else and then taught to him. Walt initially could only produce a crude Disney signature, so he delegated the task of signing to several artists, including Bob Moore, Disney's publicity artist. After much practice, Walt learned to write the signature well enough for publicity purposes. Many people who wrote letters requesting his autograph and who actually signed on his behalf believed they had received forgeries from his staff because Walt's genuine signature was so crude. In fact, the neater signatures were the forgeries. One cartoon animator who joined Disney in 1940 recalled that Walt told him on the first day, "You're new here, and I want you to understand just one thing. What we're selling here is the name Walt Disney. If you can swallow that and always remember it, you'll be happy here. But if you've got any ideas about seeing the name Ken Anderson, his name up there, it's best for you to leave right away." Occult King. Walt grew up fascinated by the occult and endured an abusive home environment. He was captivated by cartoons, nature, and children. He possessed an intuitive sense for creating quality cartoons that appealed to children. At some point, the syndicate got him indebted to them, making him their man as they held a debt over him. Secretly, Walt became a porn king. A victim recalls that he was sadistic and had an interest in snuff pornography. His interest in children was far from altruistic. The Habsburgs, belonging to the 13th Illuminati bloodline, operated a sex salon in Vienna, where a porn photographer named Felix Salten worked. Salten wrote the book Bambi, which was later translated into English by the notorious communist Whittaker Chambers. The elite were beginning to lay the groundwork for today's environmental movement. The book appealed to Disney because he preferred animals over people. In the story, tame animals view humans as gods, while the wild, free animals regard humans as demons they simply call him. The narrative begins with both free and tame animals acknowledging humans' dominion over them, but by the end, the animals view all humans as vicious creatures no better than themselves, fit only to be killed. Disney instructed his animators to make the animals human. He said, "I want people to forget they are watching animals." In Bambi, the title character is portrayed with a Christ-like manger birth, and the animals hail him as a prince. Due to his sexual problems, Walt at one point subjected himself to the practice of packing his genitals in ice for hours at a time. Children were encouraged to call Walt Uncle Walt, as exemplified by the Mouseketeers. For those familiar with mind control programming, where victims often call their abusers uncle. Walt's insistence on this title is disturbing. From what this author has learned about Walt's hidden life as a sadistic porn, questions arise about other parts of his life. For example, Kenneth Anger, in his book Hollywood Babylon 2, mentions that some animators believed Walt had fallen in love with a young boy. There may be some truth to this. The boy was Bobby Driscoll, a small, attractive child actor who signed with Disney in 1946. He appeared in Song of the South and Treasure Island, and his voice was used in Peter Pan. Bobby Driscoll was intelligent and charming. Did Disney help or abuse him? If Disney's environment was wholesome and nurturing, why did Bobby become a methamphetamine addict by 17 and die just a few years later? Why did his talent and early career not lead to a positive outcome? Those who knew Walt personally revealed that he had an obsession with the buttocks. He frequently told crude jokes about this part of the anatomy to his staff. The staff often edited these jokes out of cartoon scripts. Two examples that slipped through include a Christmas special where a little boy struggles to button the drop seat of his pajamas, a running gag about his modesty, which concludes with Santa giving him a chamber pot, and the paddling machine used on the wolf in The Three Little Pigs. Numerous Disney cartoons feature characters' buttocks provocatively twitching. After World War II, Walt Disney was called upon by Hollywood to testify in their defense during the Un-American hearings conducted by congressmen concerned about communist influence within Hollywood. Walt downplayed any communist presence in the industry. Interestingly, Walt's father was an outspoken Socialist Party leader in the United States who advocated for a socialist New World Order. He regularly voted for socialist presidential candidate Eugene Debs. One of Walt's earliest drawings as a boy was a copy of a socialist political cartoon from the periodical Appeal to Reason, to which his father subscribed. When Walt asked his father in the 1930s how he felt about socialism's successes, his father Elias replied, "Today, everything I fought for in those early days has been absorbed into the platforms of both major parties. Now I feel pretty good about that." Bob Thomas, in Walt Disney, an American original, describes Walt's film Alice's Eggplant, 1925, as a clear expression of communist doctrine, where the red hen, symbolizing communism, leads the working chickens in a strike against Julius, the farm manager representing the capitalists. The strike at Disney and the unionization of Disney workers in 1940 soured Walt's view of communism. The workers publicly launched personal verbal attacks on Walt, and he never forgave the humiliation. Despite his public distaste for communism, Walt's magic empire, his castle where he ruled as king, was run like a socialist dictatorship, resembling the structure envisioned by the New World Order. Employees at Disney did not have formal titles. Instead, there was faceless egalitarianism, topped by an all-powerful dictator, Disney himself. The environment was racially elitist as well. During Walt's lifetime, the only full-time African-American employee was a black shoeshine man. Was Walt a socialist of the National Socialist Nazi variety? Arthur Babbitt claimed, "On more than one occasion, I observed Walt Disney and Gunther Lessing at Nazi meetings, along with many other prominent Hollywood personalities with Nazi affiliations. Disney attended these meetings frequently." Lessing was a crony of mobster Willie Beoff, who had earlier operated a brothel before moving to Hollywood as part of the mob. Intriguingly, in the final panel of the Mickey Mouse comic strip dated June 19, 1940, a swastika appeared. Some have wondered what this and other secret signals in Disney's work might mean. Disney himself was not Illuminati. The powerful elite are skilled at controlling those who interact with them, especially those beginning to gain independent wealth. For example, they destroyed Robert Morris, the great financier of the American Revolution, through similar tactics. They simply applied Hegelian dialectics to Walt Disney. Unions and the mob made Disney's studio a prime target. To protect himself from the unions, which he perceived as communist, Walt sought assistance from both the FBI and the mob. Walt was vulnerable to the unions because he treated his workers poorly, subjecting them to long hours, low pay, and repeated assaults on their dignity. His large number of employees rarely received credit or recognition for their creativity and hard work. Nearly all public acclaim was credited to Walt by the establishment to build his image. While there may be some obscure exceptions, across the board Walt received the praise for what his creative staff produced. Perhaps Walt needed this ego boost from the purloined public praise to feel like a great animator, since he had originally wanted to be an artist and cartoonist, but failed. The praise helped soothe those wounds. One worker recalled that Walt had no knowledge of draftsmanship, no knowledge of music, no knowledge of literature, no knowledge of anything really, except he was a great editor. This is not much of an exaggeration, considering Walt was a high school dropout who grew up in poverty on a Missouri farm. Walt's first and only official attempt to direct a film was The Golden Touch in 1935. The film was an embarrassment and had to be pulled from distribution. If Walt lacked the ability to animate or direct, what was his talent? Walt was the driving force, the spirit behind Disney. He was the feared dictator who demanded more from his workers than they believed they could give, and he got it. He took a mob of artists, gag creators and others, and shaped them into a powerful creative force, making cartoons and later movies. He was the hard-driving genius who knew what he wanted and inspired others to create it for him. Walt was also the force behind the meticulous upkeep of Disneyland. For example, in a normal year, Walt replaced 800,000 plants at Disneyland, yet refused to put up signs asking visitors not to trample the flowers. How powerful was Walt? During his lifetime and even into the 1990s, Walt enforced a rule at the studio in Disneyland that no male employees could have facial hair, yet he himself wore a mustache for most of his life. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and I'll see you in our next video.